Okay, welcome to this tutorial on converting and conversion factors. We will do a lot of converting in this chemistry course and converting from one unit to another unit is quite simple. It does not take a lot of thinking to set up these problems where we want to convert from one unit to another. There are some specific rules that we will need, and when we get to metric conversions, the same procedures will apply. So the first thing that we want to do when we convert from one unit to another is we want to establish an equality. I call it an equality or an equation because we need to know the relationship between two units. So if we know the equivalency between two units, we can establish this equality or equation, and this will give us our conversion factor. So I'm going to do these three examples, and from these three examples you should be able to, after this, do any type of conversion as long as you know the relationship between the units. Now, these problems that I'm doing, they involve multiple steps. It's not a one-step conversion. You can take these multiple steps and apply it to a single step conversion, but these conversions that I'm doing, they will involve more than one step. So in the first example, we want to know how many seconds are in 365 days. Now, in order to do that, we have to establish a relationship between days, hours, minutes, and seconds. We can go through these dimensions and arrive at the desired unit of seconds. So in order to do that, we must know the equivalency between each unit, going from one unit, days, to hours, from hours to minutes, and from minutes to seconds. So we do that by establishing a equivalency or an equation. And the equation for this first step, going from days to hours, we know that in one day, that's equal to 24 hours. The second step, we know that in 1 hour, that's equal to 60 minutes. And in this third step here, we know that in 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So these are the three things that essentially we need to know to solve this problem. Now, we have established our equivalency, And we're going to take these three things and we're going to solve this problem. So the first thing we know is in one day we have 24 hours. The second thing, or the second conversion factor or equivalency that we need is 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. And the third one we need is in 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Now, I want to expand on this a bit. This way of writing this equation is considered a conversion factor. You can also write this conversion factor as 1 day over 24 hours. And we can write 24 hours over 1 day. Now, the fact that this ratio, or both these ratios, are equal to 1, that allows us to use this as a conversion factor. The fact that this divided by this and this divided by that, both of those are equal to 1, that allows us to use those as conversion factors. So at the same time, if I wanted to write this conversion factor as a fractional ratio, I could say 1 hour over 60 minutes. And the same would be true 60 minutes over 1 hour. Both of these as well are equal to 1. The only thing that's different is our units that we will be left with after we do the conversion. So let's set this problem up and go through it step by step. Okay, so what we will use is called the factor label method. Where we label the units and we cancel out those we don't need in the denominator, and we keep those that we need in the numerator. So for this problem, we'll be using these three conversion factors. 1 day equals 24 hours. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Okay, so to set this problem up, we have 365 days multiplied Now, so we want to go from days to hours, from hours to minutes, and from minutes to seconds. Okay, so to go from days to hours, we will need this first conversion factor. I can say that 1 day is equal to 24 hours. So notice that when I do that multiplication, my unit of days cancel. So when I multiply 365 times 24, I'm left with some unit in hours. That would be my first step. Now I can go from hours to minutes. In 1 hour, there is 60 minutes. When I cancel the unit of hours, I'm left with some unit in minutes. We're not quite finished because we want to know the number of seconds. So I use this last conversion factor that says 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Now, notice that the desired unit is always left in the numerator. The unit you want to eliminate is in the denominator. So I wind up with my desired unit of seconds. Had I written in this step, had I written 1 minute over 60 seconds, the seconds in this denominator would not have canceled with the minutes in this numerator. So writing that would be incorrect. Whatever coefficient that goes with the unit has to be the same that you used in the conversion factor. So now when you multiply 365 times 24 times 60 times 60, we get a number of seconds. And that comes out to be 315,360,000 seconds. And this is the procedure that you will use in every problem that you have to use the factor label method in order to convert from one unit to another. Let's look at the second problem. The second problem says, how many centimeters are in a yard? So we have to use the plan of going from yards to feet or foot, and from foot to inches, and from inches to centimeters. So let's go ahead and establish some conversion factors. In 1 yard, we have 3 feet. That takes care of this first one right here. Now, in 1 foot, we have 12 inches. That takes care of this second step right here. And the third one, in 1 inch, we have 2.54 centimeters. And that takes care of the last one here. So these are the 3 equalities that we will use to convert yards to centimeters. So this factor label method, again, we start with 75 yards, and we want to go from yards to feet. So I can automatically, essentially without even knowing the conversion factor, I can write these things because I know what I want to cancel and I know what I want to remain in the numerator. I know I want to wind up with some number in centimeters. So now all I have to do is go ahead and put in my conversion factor. So here it says that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Here, that 1 foot is equal to these 12 inches. And here, in 1 inch, I have 2.54 centimeters. Notice that yards cancel here, foot or feet cancels here, and the unit of inch cancels there. So when I multiply 75 times 3 times 12 times 2.54, I have some number in centimeters. And that winds up being 6,858 centimeters. Okay, so I think we can do the last one pretty quickly. I think you have the hang of it. So we want to know how many dimes are in a dollar. So we can go from the unit of dimes. We can go from dimes to dollars, and from dollars to quarters. So let's see, can we do this without writing out the conversion factors and doing it in our head? So this starts with 1,000 dimes times, I want to get rid of dimes and go to dollars, times, I want to get rid of dollars, and I want to go to quarters. So what do we know? In $1 we have what? 10 dimes. And $1 we have 4 quarters. So when you multiply 1,000 times 4 and divide by 10, you wind up with some number in quarter. Notice these units cancel and I'm left with the desired unit of quarters, and that winds up being 400 quarters as our final answer. So these are some simplistic examples that show you how we use this factor label method to go through different dimensions or different units in order to obtain the desired unit. So next we will look at the metric system and converting using the metric system and metric prefixes.